means no money later. For free ways to save, go to feedthepig.org. This message brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
Listen, as a hiring manager, I've got to tell you, the best job candidate isn't always the typical candidate. Sometimes they're a grad of life.
Meet the grads of life. Young adults of unique determination and experience. An ideal fit for your company in an entry-level position, internship, or mentorship. They might not have every qualification you typically look for, but they're exactly who your company needs.
Sometimes the best candidates aren't the ones you're used to.
Go to gradsoflife.org to learn how to find, cultivate, and train this great pool of untapped talent. Brought to you by the Ad Council and gradsoflife.org.
Major key alert. Don't ever play yourself. The key is to make it, so make it.
Learn the real major keys to getting to college at GetSchooled.com. Brought to you by Get Schooled and the Ad Council.
Y'all need anything else?
Sensation Station Network.
All right, welcome back to the Live Exchange. I'm Dr. Pamela, and today we are talking about the art of love and intimacy. And I have joining me here Tori Lynn, author of several books, Taboo, Divorce, and you have a forthcoming book called The Battle. So I can't wait to hear about these books now. I have checked out Taboo. I'm just seeing Divorce here for the first time. And then The Battle. Is this a series? Do they kind of go together?
No, they don't.
Okay.
The Divorce was the first book.
Okay.
First of all, thank you for having me.
Oh, no problem. I know. I jumped right in, but
but The Divorce is an autobiography about what I was going through in my divorce.
Okay.
And what happened is, while I was going through the divorce, my mom's an author as well. My sister is. My two daughters are authors as well.
Okay.
But my mom was writing her story called The Black Woman's Attitude, The Man Who Wants to Love Us. And in that, she gave me, she put a little bit of my story in it as well.
Okay.
But I just thought, you know what, I want to tell my story, period. And and I started going on Facebook and just social media, and I would be venting while I'm going through the divorce, and I was venting. I was going through postpartum depression, so that was my outlet, and I was amazed at how many people were either suffering in silence, or they were just they were relatable, and the men were chiming in, and they were weekly ready to discuss it, and so I just thought, you know what, I better go ahead and do this, and so that's what made me write it.
Wow, I love that. And are you a writer in general, or is this something that just compelled you to delve into?
It was more compelled because I don't even like to read. I mean, I'll get my stuff on audio so I can listen to it.
Yeah.
But like that I think it's probably dyslexic or something like that, because I'll write it, but after that, like, I have to have somebody else to read it because I won't go back and read it.
Okay.
So but yeah, I was more compelled to do it, especially, like I said, after so many people were going through the same thing,
Right.
or was like, man, my girlfriend left me, and do you think blah, 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 and I was like, you know what, this is not about you. She's trying to get your attention,
Yeah.
So
Oh, wow.
that's what, I just went in, and I was very raw and transparent, transparent about it. So.
Okay. Wow, I love that. And and I did a similar thing. I did it after the divorce, and mine is called Letters to the Brokenhearted, and I talk about how to move forward after that process. So it would be interesting to go in here and see what happened during the process. Wow.
It was a nightmare. It was a nightmare. My gosh.
So in the spirit of doing a proper introduction, would you mind telling us about who you are and kind of what led you to this point? I mean, you kind of gave us a little bit of that, but who are you, Tori Lynn?
Let's see here. Right now I'm reinventing myself.
Okay.
Because I've been here in Atlanta for a little bit over a year and a half, and it has not been easy.
Okay.
I have to say it has not been easy, because I'm a single mother, and I don't have family here and stuff like that. So it's just been it's been a bit much. So right now I'm reinventing myself. I'm trying to figure out, like, who is Tori? What do you know?
How far out from the divorce are you?
This is 3 years old.
3 years. Okay, got it. Okay, because that makes a difference in.
As far as how long I've been divorced?
Yes.
Oh, I've been divorced 2010.
Okay, 7 years. Okay.
Yeah. But you know
too.
what?
Same
Some
here.
things that happen after, the emotional part that goes on after the divorce. Like the shame and the, everything you go through, the mental stuff. And then I had just had another baby. So I was at postpartum depression.
Oh, gosh.
My mother had just had all of this seemed like it happened in the same year or within a year of each other. Postpartum depression, just had another baby because we got together again, and just enough time to make another baby.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, so sex wasn't our problem.
Doesn't take long.
Yeah, that was not our issue. And so that was a thing, and my mom turned around and got a brain tumor.
Oh
I had lost my house in Mansfield, and I lost the house that I was staying in. It was just a nightmare. It was like a ripple effect that was just, I lost everything.
Wow.
So it was like a mental breakdown I was going through.
Wow. And how did you get through that?
It was not it was not quick.
Yeah.
Now I have to say that my faith was probably the thing that kept me alive. And the mother in me.
Right.
Those are the two things that really kept me alive, because at some point, you just, man, if I could just take these antidepressant pills and just not wake up.
Yeah.
Because it seemed so peaceful. So that's what I was going through, and I was just like, but you know how God is. He has a sense of humor. And my pastor called me and said, "You know what happened to people when they kill themselves?" And I was like, "No, they go to hell." And I was like, "Oh." So I was like, "But wouldn't God understand?" He said, "No, because He said, 'Thou shalt not kill.'
Right.
And if you kill yourself, you can't go back and repent." I thought, well, I don't want to go to hell.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was going to happen like that. So anyway, like I said, God just has a sense of humor, the way He deals with us and the way He deals with me. And so that's another thing. But I still can relate to people that think that that's their only way out. That
Right.
They're just like, I don't know what else to do.
Well, and I had a conversation with my son at one point where he was having a really hard time, and a few kids at his school had committed suicide, and I know there's actually a ripple effect when that happens, particularly with youth, and so I was telling him, just in case you're ever thinking about it, you don't always, and this is gory, but you don't always die in the attempt.
Right.
You can cause permanent damage. You may end up with a life you really, really have a hard time living, because now you're dependent on everybody, and so I know I brought that. It just brought that to mind that, that there's no guarantees even in that attempt, in the lowest parts of your depression, so. Yeah, so I'm glad that he was able to turn you away from,
But like I say, God deals with me with a sense of humor, because I have a sense of humor.
Yeah,
So when he's like, so my pastor called, people, they go to hell. And it was just so funny, because when he said it, I was like, oh, well, I didn't know it was going to happen like that. I don't want to do that.
Right. Yeah.
I thought I was just going to sleep and not wake up. I didn't know I was going to go to hell.
Wow. Yeah, that's, something to think about. Something definitely to think about. So what is it that you are doing now? I saw on your website you have a lot of, that you've been doing speaking and that kind of thing. Is that what you're doing with your books now?
Yes.
Okay.
That is the desire of my heart, is to go back to speaking, because I had stopped for a minute.
Okay, got it.
And I love it. It's like a high. Like people get high off of this or that. I get a high off speaking.
Yes, me too.
Yeah. So it's just like, okay, that's what I want to do. That's what I want to get it back into.
Yes.
So that's what I'm currently pursuing now. So
Okay.
I'm getting some bookings. So that's fun.
That's awesome.
That is a blessing. But yeah, that's just, I love it. I love it. It's just like a.
I know. I know. All right. Well, stay with us. We'll be right back with trending topics.
Hi, I'm Viola Davis. Did you know that 1 in 5 kids in America struggle with hunger? Growing up, I was one of those kids. But we can solve this. When we make breakfast happen for kids in our neighborhood, we have the power to end childhood hunger, create bigger, brighter school days, and healthier minds and bodies. Go to hungeris.org and lend your time or your voice.
We're hungry for more.
A message from the Albertsons Companies Foundation and the Entertainment Industry Foundation.
Our freedom and security are made possible through the service and sacrifice of our military and first responders. The Gary Sinise Foundation provides many outreach programs supporting these brave men and women. Join us. Donate at GarySiniseFoundation.org.
Marie Callender's knows that you may not have time to roll out dough for a perfectly flaky crust that's made from scratch, or enough time to mix vegetables with all white meat chicken and a homemade gravy. She knows you may not have a moment to crimp the edges of your favorite chicken pot pie, but Marie Callender's does. And when she's done, all you need to do is find time to grab someone special, sit down, and savor. Marie Callender's, it's time to savor.
I'm more resourceful than I thought.
My suit can still make an impression.
My video games are still game changers.
And my lamp can bring others a bright future.
Because when I donate my stuff to Goodwill,
it helps fund job placement and training for people right in my community.
Now my stuff gets a second chance.
And will give someone in my community
a second chance too.
Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs.
Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. That's goodwill.org. This message brought to you by Goodwill and the Ad Council.
Sensation Station Network. Radio 2, Atlanta.
Primary election.
Lack of diversity.
Gas prices.
Michael Black's trending topics.
Okay, so what's trending this week? Well, we always have politics trending. It's, but it's not always fun politics. I don't know if politics ever is fun. But this week, 45, we know who 45 is. He's now threatening North Korea that the U.S. would come with fire and fury if they continue to threaten us. North Korea returned with threatening to bomb Guam, which is a U.S. territory, for those of you who don't know. And then, these two they're going at it, in my opinion, like two kids just arguing over who's going to be the class president. No, I'm bigger, and it's like, come on, y'all. These are human lives we're talking about. This is not a game. This is life. Yeah. There are people in Guam, and from what I've heard, once that, if something gets sent that way, there's 30 minutes to prepare, and then by the time the citizens get to know what's going on, they have 12 minutes. So it's not a game, y'all. This is something that, these are people's lives we're playing with. So I don't know, and I've heard some people talk about, and I wish I knew his name. I don't know his name offhand. I was watching TV, and he's a diplomat. His whole thing is we need a diplomatic solution to this. We don't need to be talking about fire and fury. That's not the answer. A lot of people are fearing World War III is coming because of this, and I've decided I'm just going to enjoy every single day and every single minute because I cannot walk around
in fear.
I refuse. I just do hope and pray that either these leaders get it together or somebody gets them together. I'll just leave it at that. Procter and Gamble released a video, and it didn't just happen. I don't know if you've seen the video, The Talk. And the talk is, where black parents are talking to their kids about the different forms of oppression that they may encounter growing up. In fact, there's an actual name for this, and this is in the research. It's called racial socialization. And racial socialization is that whole idea that we understand how we are perceived in this particular society as a race, and we know that in some ways it's negative, and in some ways it's life-threatening. So we are going to do what we have to do to prepare our children to deal with these kinds of encounters. So this commercial beautifully depicts the conversations that black parents have with their children. Well, there have been a lot of people who are not black who are quite offended by the commercial and call it racist and basically perceive it as an exaggeration of what is real. I'll have you know, this is quite real. These are conversations that we truly do have with our children, and this is for our children's survival. This is because we want our children to know how to navigate a society that shuns them in many ways. And so it blows my mind that such a beautifully crafted commercial would come with so much backlash. I shouldn't be surprised, but I have to say that I am surprised. That's one thing, and I would love to hear you all chime in on what your thoughts were about The Talk, because I thought it was a pretty profound commercial. Jordan Peele's Get Out is so far the most profitable movie of 2017. Loved the movie. Yes. This social thriller earned its 630% return on its $4.5 million filming and production budget. Woo! And it brought in a whopping $252 million worldwide. So it's interesting, isn't it ironic, that this movie is also about racism? And yet, and I wonder if people knew going into it what they were getting themselves into. But it was such a good movie. It was great, So for all those people who say black people can't make good, profitable films in Hollywood, You're wrong. It happens. Here's an example. In not so other new news, Colin Kaepernick is still being blackballed from playing in the NFL. There is a lot of controversy around it. We have a lot of people saying, well, you know, he should have just sat down and not done anything, and others are saying he had every right to stand up. And it's very interesting because I'm hearing many say, he's never going to play in the NFL again. It's over. It's over. And others like Spike Lee is leading a protest against the NFL to stand up for Colin in this matter. So that protest is supposed to happen, or that rally is supposed to happen on April 23rd, 2017 at the NFL headquarters in New York City. So if anybody's there, anybody's interested, definitely check that out. And I have a question for you all. Should people protest the NFL due to not signing Kaepernick? Should players be more supportive? Should black players be more supportive of Kaepernick by speaking out and protesting themselves? And I've heard a lot of people say, you know what, if the players protested, this would get somewhere. Everybody else protesting, particularly if it's only black people protesting, it's not a large enough constituent to make a difference. This is arguments, I'm reiterating arguments I've heard on Facebook, but that if the players stepped in on this, that it would really have an impact. We've seen it with baseball. They all went on strike because they didn't get paid enough. So it would be interesting to see what would happen if the players went. Now, for those of you who love football, don't get on me. If there's some issue with the football season and people aren't playing, I didn't advocate for it. I'm just telling you the news. Although I do fully support Colin Kaepernick in his in willing to stand up for himself, and I fully support all of the efforts that support him. So I guess I am kind of calling for it. So those are your trending topics. I would love, again, to hear you chime in on your thoughts about the Get Out and what your thoughts were on that film. I hear Adante Jordan. He's saying money talks, hit the NFL in the pockets. That's what's going to make the difference. But it really works when it's a unified front. If it's one people, sprinkling of people here and there, the most they will do is make a mockery out of us and move on to the next thing. So unified front is absolutely essential here. So getting into today's topic, I really wanted to start off with this piece that was written. It was written by Sophie Bashard. Now, the only reason why I know this person is because you know how things come through your social media, poems, memes, and this one just so happened to have her name on it, which I'm grateful for. A lot of it is anonymous. So I looked her up, and she really talks about the whole idea of being an awakened woman. And I absolutely love it because I feel like it falls right into place with your sexuality and your ability to have great intimacy. So I have to read this. So it says, and her name again, if I didn't say it, is Sophie Bashard. If you choose to love an awakened woman, understand that you are entering into new, radical, and a challenging territory. If you choose to love an awakened woman, you cannot stay asleep. If you choose to love an awakened woman, every part of your soul will be aroused, not just your sexual organs or even your heart. And then I'll skip to this part. She will see you like you've never been seen before. She will trust you. She will appreciate you. She will acknowledge your efforts to make her happy. She will value every good that you do and every good that you are. She will not run from your darkness because your darkness does not scare her. She will embrace, kiss, caress, and love you back to life. She will speak words that your soul understands. She will not punish you for your mistakes. It is a monumental risk to love an awakened woman because there is suddenly no place to hide. She sees everything. Therefore, she can love you with a depth and a presence that your heart and body have yearned for so hard, so long, so fiercely, that you wonder whether you have actually been alive for all of the time that she has been away. Loving a woman like this is a choice you make to start living with your soul on fire. Your life will never be the same again once you've invited her energy in. Ooh, yeah. So I'm going to pick your brain about this a little bit. And we're going to talk about what it means to be an awakened woman and what it means to be an awakened person, because this can apply to having an awakened man as well in your life. So we're going to talk about that. Are you guys awake? I hope you're awake. We'll be right back.
People are always looking to invest in a good opportunity. So what if you could invest in the future of kids, like a stock? Not the kind of stock that's about making money, but a stock for social change called Better Futures. With your investment, it helps students like me go to college. My name is Charles, and I'm your dividend.
Invest in better futures with UNCF. Visit uncf.org/invest. A mind is a terrible thing to waste, but a wonderful thing to invest in. Brought to you by UNCF and the Ad Council.
Driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
I am an American soldier.
I'm a warrior and a member of a team.
I serve the people of the United States and live the Army values.
I will always place finish first.
I will never accept defeat.
I will never accept defeat.
I will never quit.
I will never leave a fallen comrade.
I am disciplined.
I am disciplined. Physically and mentally tough. Trained and proficient in my warrior tasks and drills.
I always maintain my arms, my equipment, and myself.
I am an expert and I am a professional.
I stand ready to deploy, engage, and destroy the
enemies of the United States of America in close combat.
I am a guardian of freedom and the American way of life.
I am an American soldier.
I am an American soldier.
I am an American soldier.
There's strong, and there's Army Strong. See what it takes at GoArmy.com.
Great leaders aren't born. They're made, and not just anywhere. They're made in special places by special qualified trainers in places like the Academy of Creative Coaching. The Academy of Creative Coaching is an international certification program with courses in health and wellness coaching, spiritual coaching, relationship coaching, executive coaching, life coaching, and cultural competency coaching. Courses are online, hybrid, or face-to-face. The Academy of Creative Coaching is empowering coaches to empower the world. Make a positive change in yourself and the world. Go to academyofcreativecoaching.com.
There's a power you have within you, unlike any other. You can't explain it. It's just there. It drives you, compels you. You cannot ignore it. Do you feel it? It's that power that tells you you can do the absolute impossible. The power that tells you you're more than what you currently are. The power that tells you it's time. Launch, move, skyrocket your life with Rocket Sports One fitness gear. RocketSports-One.com.
Hi, this is Terry Crews, actor, former football player, and father of 5. I'm also an expert on drama. There's the good kind that comes with having a house full of kids, and there's silly drama like the drama around my percolating pectorals. And then there's the drama you can skip.
Skip the drama that comes with not having your high school diploma or equivalency. Find free adult education classes near you and finish your diploma. Visit finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org.
And lead the drama to actors like me.
Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
You don't usually get a stock tip from a 16-year-old, but I'm here to tell you about a different kind of stock. It's called Better Futures, a stock for social change that's not about making money. Instead, you invest to help students like me go to college. This is beyond a simple donation. It's the opportunity for America to invest in its kids and take an active stake in the future of the country. The return on your investment isn't money. What you get back is knowing you protected our potential. So one day, that potential can grow up to become surgeons and architects, executives and engineers, people who can change the future just by being a part of it. My name is Alicia, and I'm your dividend.
Invest in better futures with UNCF. Visit uncf.org/invest. A mind is a terrible thing to waste, but a wonderful thing to invest in. A public service announcement brought to you by UNCF and the Ad Council.
Hey, this is John Legend.
Hey, what's happening, man? It's the King speaking.
This is Jeremiah.
Can you dig it?
Can you dig it?
Gotta be. Sensation Station Network.
Okay, welcome back to the Live Exchange. I'm Dr. Pamela, and we're talking about the art of love and intimacy, and I just read a really amazing piece by Sophie Bashard about choosing to love an awakened woman. And again, I apply this to choosing to love an awakened man. I think, you know, this when you choose to love an awakened person, it is powerful and it's life-changing and it's challenging, and it's all-encompassing and it's all of those things. But it is so worth it. So I pose this question to you. Do you agree or disagree with this notion of what it means to be an awakened woman, and what does having an awakened partner mean to you? I know, that's a lot.
Okay, let's see which one. The awakened woman, I think she, first of all, was eloquent. Okay, the thing, especially when she said about when you have her, it's almost, she's saying the awakened woman is a trophy to the man. And so I totally 100% agree with her, because she's saying that basically not only just stay woke, but also be in tune. You know, be in tune, know who she is, be in tune with her body, be in tune with her cycle, you know, not just menstrual. I'm talking about her cycle.
Yes.
So, you know, I think that she's 100% correct by staying woke, you know, because we're constantly changing. That's just part of a woman.
Yes.
You know, but he can't take it personal when she shift gears. He has to stay woke, be like, okay.
Be in line.
You got to stay, you're going to have to go ahead. Just like on the motorcycles, like, you know, when let's go this way, we're going to have to go together, because if you're this way and that way, we might, you know, somebody might fall out.
Right,
so
right.
I totally agree.
Yeah. Yeah, and I love the part that said that, you know, you actually won't be able to sleep if you're with an awakened woman. Like, it just doesn't, you can't sleep, because she's going to be like, are you know,
paying attention?
Yes, you're paying attention. and I'm not talking in the literal sense. I mean, you know, just in terms of with life, you know, with things that happen in every way, just being she will challenge you to become an awakened person yourself. So yeah, very interesting stuff. We are now going to go into a little bit of the science and the research.
In the interest of science.
Okay, so we are talking about shame resilience theory, and I love Brené Brown. Dr. Brené Brown is the one who came up with this, and the reason why I want to talk about shame resilience theory is because your book Taboo addresses sex as, you know, being kind of a taboo topic that we need to kind of get over. But the reason why it's a taboo topic is because there's a lot of shame when it comes to the topic of sex. So I want to make sure that we can first look at that shame and address the shame and eliminate the shame, so that we can get to, you know, higher levels of intimacy. So according to Brené Brown, and she happens to be one of my rock star researchers, by the way, shame, by definition, is the intensely painful feeling or experience of believing that we are flawed and therefore unworthy of acceptance and belonging. Women often experience shame when they are entangled in a web of layered, conflicting, and competing social community expectations. Shame creates feelings of fear, blame, and disconnect. Now, there's a profound difference between shame and guilt. I believe, well, Brené believes, I'm reading literally what she said, that guilt is adaptive and helpful. So, you know, it's holding something we've done or failed to do up against our values of feeling psychological discomfort. So I feel guilty because I said I was going to do this for this person and I didn't follow through. That's guilt. It helps you learn from the experience and bounce back. You're attributing it to the act and not to who you are. Shame says, I didn't do what I said I'm going to do. I'm a rotten person and I don't deserve to live, you know. So there is a profound difference, because the difference is you can correct the action. When you are ashamed of yourself, it's deeper. It's a lot deeper. So Brene Brown offers 4 elements of shame resilience. So shame resilience basically means, here's how I'm going to get over the shame. I'm not going to let shame be a master in my life. And the 4 ways that she says that that can happen is, number 1, recognizing shame and understanding our triggers. So if we have physical responses like our heart is racing or we have tightness in our chest, that is possibly a trigger to something that can lead to shame. So if we can recognize shame and the triggers, and if you think about it, and I'll have you guys think about it as well, what are some things that trigger anxiety that can possibly at some point lead to shame? For some people, it's, speaking engagements. They don't like standing in front of people, and if they say the wrong thing, they kick themselves for the whole rest of the day because of it. It's not a guilt thing, it's actually a shame thing in that case. Practicing critical awareness is number 2. Knowing why something exists, knowing why you're feeling these feelings. So be, a critique why you're thinking the way you're thinking. Become aware of that. Number 3, reaching out and telling our story. So being willing to own our stories, as you have done, it really kind of stands in the face of shame. It says, I'm not ashamed of it. This is who I am, and I'm proud of who I am. And then number 4, speaking shame is so important as its survival depends on going undetected. So through secrecy and silence, that's how shame lives. When we keep things under wraps, and the example that comes to mind is with sexual abuse. We keep that under wraps, and it perpetuates shame. So when we speak our shame, when we're willing to speak out on the things that we've been told to keep a secret, it liberates us away from a life of shame. So, and then just some common reactions to shame. Brene found that when people don't recognize their shame and the reactions to the message that triggers shame, we put up our screens, so it's a defense mechanism. And we do 3 things. We either move against shame by trying to gain control or power over others and being aggressive over others. We move away from shame by withdrawing and hiding from others and keeping secrets. Or we move towards shame by seeking approval and belonging. By recognizing our shame screens, we can make alternative choices and do other things instead of these 3 activities. The moving towards shame by seeking approval basically means I'm going to do whatever I can for people to like me. So the 3 are unhealthy, and if you can embody these 4 elements of shame resilience, recognizing the shame, practicing critical awareness, reaching out and telling our story, and speaking shame, those things are so important. So that is our research for the first hour, and you're going to love the research for the second hour, so stay tuned for that as well. So with regards to, and we're going to delve into some more specifics about your book, Taboo, but with regards to the element of shame, have you had conversations with people who have talked about shame as it pertains to their sexuality? Is that something that's ever come up?
Yeah, especially big-boned women. I'm 206 pounds, so I don't know if you came across I think it was the first or the second chapter where it talked about, what is your sexy? What is your sexy?
Yes.
So, because everybody has that sexy. It's your, your big legs or the calf muscles or your cheekbones, your slanted eyes. We all have our sexy. So we have to accentuate that. Be proud of that part. If you have big boobs, I just got mine with a weight gain, so I'm like, man, what's going to happen when I lose the weight? But, it's just, but we all have that sexy. And so let's go ahead and focus on the positive, which is what your sexy is.
Right.
Or even when I'm out speaking and especially when I'm speaking to a room full of women, and I say, hey, what is your sexy? If she cannot find her own sexy, I have her neighbor turn to her and say, okay, this is what your sexy is. I love your eyes, or I love your eyebrows, or, that. Because sometimes we can't find it ourselves. Sometimes if we've gone through so much in life and we just cannot, like we kind of lost ourselves, then sometimes it does take another person to remind us who we are, what we look like, or man, you have gorgeous hair, or you have gorgeous skin, or something like that, just to kind of give that little oomph. And then after a while we have to go back and see, the more we heal, then we can go back and see, you know what, I do have, cute lips, so whatever it is. And so that's You know, instead of being ashamed of, oh, I've gained so much weight after the baby, or, you know, I know my weight came, and I was ashamed at first, but my weight gain came with stress. It came with stress. And so I had to come up with it. Okay, now I'm like a 14, 16. I wear a size 14, 16. I never think I would ever be this big. I wasn't this big when I was pregnant twice. So, but instead of being ashamed, now I'm saying, okay, own it. It's okay, you know, still accentuate whatever's sexy about me while I'm trying to come back and, you know, then, you know, try to stop stressing. That way I can lose the weight back down. Fix what the problem is.
I love it. And then for those of you who are not able to see the video, she's got plenty of sexy all over. Very sexy woman. So, you know, but I love that, because a lot of times, if we don't see it in ourselves, like you said, asking the woman next to her to affirm that for her can be so powerfully life-changing.
And we need it as Black women. We need to build each other up, period.
Absolutely. I love it. That's beautiful. All right, stay with us. We'll be right back on the Live Exchange.
Marie Callender's knows that you may not have time to roll out dough for a perfectly flaky crust that's made from scratch, or enough time to mix vegetables with all white meat chicken and a homemade gravy. She knows you may not have a moment to crimp the edges of your favorite chicken pot pie, but Marie Callender's does. And when she's done, all you need to do is find time to grab someone special, sit down, and savor. Marie Callender's, it's time to savor.
1 in 7 Americans will struggle with addiction during their lifetime. Want to know how you can help? Go to heretolisten.com for tips and tools to help turn addiction around. A public service announcement brought to you by the Ad Council.
So, I'm a dog, and I just got adopted by this new human guy, and I'm starting to wonder how he got along without me. I mean, okay, something as simple as walking around the block. He's got this leash thing, and he puts me on one end and him on the other, and I'm just taking him around. I think he's afraid of getting lost. Without that leash and me guiding him along, I don't think he'd find his way back home. But it's kind of cute.
A person is the best thing to happen to a shelter pet. Be that person. Adopt. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the ShelterPetProject.org.
Our freedom and security are made possible through the service and sacrifice of our military and first responders. The Gary Sinise Foundation provides many outreach programs supporting these brave men and women. Join us. Donate at GarySiniseFoundation.org.
And so a new American industry has been born.
Sensation Station Network.
Keeping your balance with Dr. Pamela. Dr. Pamela. Dr. Pamela.
All right, welcome back. What are we calling this? The Balance Challenge. The Balance Challenge is brought to you by BBLA Cosmetics. BBLA stands for Breathe Beauty LA, and they are responsible for the look on my face today. Very happy with BBLA. So this week's Balance Challenge is based on an article about tantric sex and how to be a little bit more, how to expand your horizons a little bit. And so there's a bit of, there's an article here on sheknows.com, and it talks about just some basics about tantric sex. And what it is really, for those of you who are not here, because our guest hasn't called in yet, so I'll give you a brief overview of what it is. And that is really kind of, it's an ancient tradition of really folding meditation, yoga practices into the sexual experience. And so 4 ways to incorporate that into your bedroom this week. Number 1, focus on your breathing and your partner's reaction to touch. So you're not focusing on the end result and all of the great parts of the sexual experience. Right now, focus on, not right now when you listen to the show right now, but, focus on your breathing and your partner's reaction to touch. Narrow in on just that. And it's fairly common for people to check out during sex, to do things by rote and without a whole lot of reflection. So this will allow you to pay attention to what you're experiencing in your body. Number 2, give and receive with kisses. So people tend to interact sexually based on a set of tacit understandings. So basically, I'll do for you for a while, and then you can do for me. And then if we're lucky, we'll both have a good experience. Well, this encourages people to separate giving and receiving in a very, very methodical way. So, for example, it's great to experiment with giving and receiving kisses. Take a couple of minutes and allow your partner to kiss you and explore your mouth with his tongue. Then reverse roles. When you're kissing, see how fully you can give yourself over to the active role without thinking about what you're going to receive in return. When you are receiving, surrender to the experience completely. So that's number 2. Number 3, take 60 seconds. No. Minutes. So it's going to take some patience, y'all. Take 60 minutes and give each other a massage, but no sex.
Ooh.
Yes. Give each other, and I'm not just talking about any kind of massage. I'm talking about a sensual massage. Give each other a massage, but no sex. So what it says here is set aside an hour or so to give and receive full body massages. When I say full body, I mean full body.
With no sex?
With no sex. Do this on different days. As with the kissing exercise, the role of the giver is to give fully as possible, and the role of the receiver is to receive as fully as possible. So what this is, it's an exercise of intimacy. Taking this activity out of the realm of foreplay and keeping the roles clearly defined may help you discover new sources of pleasure and may also give you new insights to the way you interact with your partner, both in and out of bed. So it allows you to take it away from, sex and learn more about your pleasure points and what it is you enjoy and what it is you like, without focusing on, okay, we're going to do this so that we can get to the part of penetration. So this allows you to just take your time. It may, be a little difficult, but for 60 minutes, now after the 60 minutes, you guys can engage, but this is saying just do the 60 minutes.
You're saying 60 minutes, not 60 seconds.
60 minutes. 60 minutes. And then number 4, break a taboo by talking about sex. A lot of people just don't talk about sex. Couples, they have sex, but they don't talk about it. So break a taboo by being willing to just have the conversation about what the two of you enjoy, about what the two of you might want to try. Let's see. Let me make sure I got all of them. Okay, I got all 4. So those are the things that you can do to incorporate some tantric sex traditions or practices into what you do. And what it does is it increases that level of intimacy. It increases that bond. It allows you to explore each other without worrying about what you're going to get out of it. It allows you to be selfless, and so that by the time you do get to the intercourse part, you've built up to that point. So what are your thoughts about it? So that's your challenge this week, by the way. Pick one. And even if you're celibate, I'll say choose number 4 then. Choose number 4 is by, talking about sex, having the conversation, with one of your best friends, somebody. Be willing to engage in that conversation. So my challenge for you this week is to break out of the norm and try something different. Pick one of those 4. We'll be right back.
Great leaders aren't born. They're made, and not just anywhere. They're made in special places by special qualified trainers in places like the Academy of Creative Coaching. The Academy of Creative Coaching is an international certification program with courses in health and wellness coaching, spiritual coaching, relationship coaching, executive coaching, life coaching, and cultural competency coaching. Courses are online, hybrid, or face-to-face. The Academy of Creative Coaching is empowering coaches to empower the world. Make a positive change in yourself and the world. Go to academyofcreativecoaching.com.
Hi, this is Terry Crews, actor, former football player, and father of 5. I'm also an expert on drama. There's the good kind that comes with having a house full of kids, and there's silly drama like the drama around my percolating pectorals. And then there's the drama you can skip.
Skip the drama that comes with not having your high school diploma or equivalency. Find free adult education classes near you and finish your diploma. Visit finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org.
And leave the drama to actors like me.
Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ed Council.
Battery's about to die. Welcome back to the Live Exchange. Okay, we are talking about the art of love and intimacy. So I gave you some tips about how to rise to higher levels of intimacy in the Balance Challenge. Tori Lynn's over here like 60 minutes, 60-minute massage, no sex.
60 minutes.
60 minutes. Not even just a massage. And I'm not talking about massaging the shoulders. You know, that's probably part of it. But we're talking about head to toe, full massage that you're not going to get in a ethical massage parlor.
I'm gonna tell you something funny, because I know I've been celibate for 2 years, so what had happened was,
so that might not be the activity.
Yeah, I don't think it won't go well with me. 60 seconds is all I'm gonna give them. But I was at a massage parlor, and a little Asian, he was a little short Asian man. He had been 80 years old, but he was seasoned. He could work it out. So I went back to him, and this time he had me on the table. You know, you take you in the room with the curtains like that. He put me on the table.
Yes.
And I got on the table. I'm laying there. So he came back in, and he said, "Whoa!" I looked up because my head was in that thing, and I looked up, and I was like, "What is it?" Well, I didn't know I wasn't supposed to take my bra off.
Oh, really? You're not?
I was naked. I was like, "Hey, look."
I should take my bra off too.
I did too. And he said, "Whoa." I was like, "What's wrong with you?" But yeah. So I was like, oh, I didn't think twice about it. I'm gonna get it the way I can get it.
Right.
So that was my thing.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny. Well, it's funny because that is my thing. My love language is physical touch. Mm-hmm. So if I'm not involved in that, I gotta go get a massage. Mm-hmm. And it's not like I don't mean to make it sound creepy. I mean, but I have to have that physical touch, and so that's my go-to. Okay. To get that touch, is to get a massage. You know.
Oh, nobody touched me right now. I've been celibate for 2 years.
Yeah.
As I might be like, what's his name? Was it Joseph when he had to run out his clothes?
Yeah. No, I need to make a distinction now. I don't want no misunderstandings. I don't go get the massage I'm recommending you guys to get. When for the Balance Challenge, I go get an ethical massage from the massage parlor. But yes, so yeah, you have to know your limits. I totally get that. So if you are, for those of you out there, you're celibate, do not do number 3, which is the hour sensual massage. That is only if you are involved and you and your partner are like, nope, we are not celibate. Go for it.
Yeah.
If you are celibate, my challenge would be to have a conversation. Now, I don't know, is that violating the boundaries to be willing to break the mold and have a conversation about sex?
You don't need to talk about it.
Now, I'm not talking about to another guy, somebody you be attracted to. I'm talking about your girlfriends.
Oh, well, yeah, this is my,
Okay. Yes. Yeah. Because I think we need to destigmatize it and be willing to have conversations about sex, and we have our limitations, but we just have so many blocks when it comes to it, and I'm like, y'all, we need to just break out of that.
My grandmother,
I love your grandmother.
Oh my gosh, she just put it in me like I came from a sexual family, and then the women in my family are dominant. So my grandmother, I could talk to her about anything. I could talk to my mom about anything. As a matter of fact, before I wrote the book Taboo, I read it across my mom, and I was like, "Mom, what do you think about this?" I'm thinking God want me to write a book about taboo issues, but yet I'm a Christian, I'm celibate. She was like, I could see with you, him doing that to you, for you, because I'm giving it from both views, from both angles.
Right.
From being married and then being single and then wanting to marry again.
Yes.
So that was the thing, but even with her, I asked her a question. I'm not gonna ask it because I probably can't ask it here. But I asked her, "Have you ever experienced this?" She was like, "I don't even know what that is."
Yeah.
So when I wrote it, I realized that there were a lot of women that don't know where the G spot is.
Yes.
Well, I guess I just told it,
a lot too.
Yeah.
Well, and those are good terms. We can use those. Those are terms that are okay, right?
Is that okay?
I think we can say that.
Yeah, don't shut us down.
I meant to ask, what are the words we cannot say on this episode?
Don't shut us down.
Yes, a lot of women don't know. They don't, and that's one of the reasons why I think it's so important for us to be willing to have these conversations, because some women don't even know that they don't know.
Right.
Right. And very interesting episode of Orange is the New Black, and this was, I think, season 4. The women had no idea that what their body makeup was down there, and they were shocked. And it was an episode where they're showing each other in the mirror, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, I have more than one down." I didn't. I'm talking about,
more than one what?
Hole. Yeah. Anyway, they didn't understand the makeup. They thought that where they pee from is the same that for everything.
Okay.
That everything happens there, you know.
Oh, okay.
And so there was not a clear understanding of even the body makeup. And if you don't even know that, you know, how can you really fully understand what you like sexually and how to
also for the enjoyment of it? Because if this is a gift from God for married people, and then you're engaging in sex, you know, get past the little part of, oh, this is what I'm supposed to do.
Yes.
It's enjoyable.
Yeah,
I mean, the Song of Solomon, he had fun.
Right.
I mean,
He had
you
a
can
lot of
tell
fun.
it. You can see it like he had fun.
Yes, he had a lot of fun. Yes. So I think that it's important for us to be willing to openly have these conversations. They don't always mean that they have to be raunchy or you know, anything like that.
It's just intimacy.
It's part of life, literally. So we have a love note, and we're going to go into this love note.
Love Notes with Dr. Pamela.
Okay, so this love note came to me anonymously from a woman we will call Donica. Tori, Lynn, I'm going to need your feedback on this one. So, but she says, Dr. Pamela, I've never really been big on sex. My husband is, and I want to please him, but none of it is appealing for me. Is there anything I can do to change my feelings about sex, or am I going to be this way forever? And I want a disclaimer, we're not sex therapists, and I think that might be one first step. But what do you have any thoughts on that?
I say get taboo. I mean, because I went there, you know, because one thing that is true is that when, especially the Christians, we grow up, don't have sex, don't do this, don't do that, and then in a church, hellfire, brimstone, fornication. So we're taught not to enjoy sex, not to have sex, you know, and then we get married. You know, now what am I supposed to do? How do you deprogram?
You have to deprogram. Yes, absolutely.
So that's another reason why I wrote it is because it's just going back, like I said, starting with what is your sexy? What is your sexy? You know, what's sexy about you?
Start with you.
Yeah, start with you.
Yes.
Because if you can't be in a room with your husband with the lights on, then that's a problem already.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
Just owning it. Just own it. You know, like I'm sexy this way, or this is what I like about myself, or whatever, or have fun with it while you're losing weight, or whatever.
Yes.
So that's the thing. I addressed it in Taboo because so many were taught this is not an enjoyable thing. But Song of Solomon definitely said it is.
Yes.
I mean, he showed us that this is something, and he adored her, and she adored him, and they enjoyed each other.
Right.
So that's what I feel like. I don't think that this is something like a permanent damage or like that. Unless your husband is raping you or making you feel uncomfortable about yourself, then I would definitely seek a therapist, number one. And surely read Taboo.
Yeah, I mean, and there are some really good tips in there, and some of which we're going to get into. But I also want to add to that, Donica, I love that you said to enjoy, have fun with it. One of the things that I did right after I got divorced is I signed up for a pole dancing class, and I probably should have done it maybe while I was married,
right?
But you know, I did it after. I was trying to find myself. I was trying to, but it was part of. It wasn't necessarily part of me trying to figure out how I can better please somebody else. It was me finding myself. It was finding my sexy, and I was able to find my sexy on the pole, in the pole dancing class, and they have, you know, they had a chair dancing class. I mean, it was just, but it allowed me to learn how to express myself sexually in a way that wasn't shameful and wasn't demeaning. It was fun. So I think that is one. If you can find, like Tori Lynn said, the fun in it, I think that is a really a great way. Now, again, I do recommend checking out, if you say you've just never been into sex and you've never enjoyed it, I would say, you know, definitely connect with a sex therapist.
Yeah.
They're out there
because there's reasons. Some people
Yeah.
get molested.
Exactly.
You know, some people, like I said, are taught that it was the wrong thing or whatever.
Right.
So I think that definitely see a therapist because it's God called it good.
Yes.
It's good.
It's
and it's enjoyable and it's a wedding gift.
Right,
You know?
right. So yeah, so there are things that you can do. You ask the question, am I going to be this way forever? You don't have to be.
Don't have to be.
No. So, but it does require that you are proactive, and that you're willing to step out of your comfort zone in order to change, into what it is you desire to be. So think about that, ponder that, and we'll be right back on the Live Exchange.
Now, well, you'll see what happens. Sensation Station Network.
All right, we are in the second hour of the Live Exchange, where we exchange compelling dialogue around love, politics, and intellect every Thursday from 11 to 1. I'm Dr. Pamela, and today we are talking about the power of love and intimacy. And I'm joined here by author Tori Lynn, who's the author of Taboo and The Divorce. And what's the upcoming book?
The Journey. That's the one that's coming next.
Oh, okay. And The Journey. And so we're going to talk about those things. But we've been getting into just some different elements of love and intimacy. And we just had a question from somebody was asking, is there anything I can do because I'm really not into sex at all? And is there anything I can do? And yes, there are things that can be done. And so, so we are hoping that she will check out, explore herself a little bit, a therapist, whatever is needed. But no, you do not have to stay that way. So the book, I'm going to ask you to tell us a little bit more about the book, but there's a quote that I love from the book. So there's a husband, and you're in a conversation with this husband of 4 years, and he has 2 kids, I believe, is what it said. And he says, I remember complimenting my wife. And what's interesting is we just had a question come up on Facebook with this exact situation. So we'll be able to answer your question for those of you who came up on Facebook. But I remember complimenting my wife because I have a beautiful wife. But at one point I stopped telling her because one time I said, baby, you are so beautiful. And she said, I know. When she's non-receptive, I back off. I may get in my feelings. I would like her to show interest, flirt back. What say you to this scenario?
Excuse me. I thought it was funny when he said that because sometimes we as women, we had to try to build ourselves up and, try to compliment ourselves. And, we speak that it starts with ourselves. It starts with me. We have to be self-confident. But yet we don't want to be arrogant and we don't want to be overly overly arrogant or overly
insecure, the opposite.
I don't know what I was trying to say. But anyway, we want to make sure that, we accept the compliment.
Mm-hmm.
If he's saying, baby, you're beautiful, and she comes back with, yeah, I already know that, then that's crossing the line.
Yes.
That's crossing the line because we want the men to compliment us. We want them to say something. But then if we come back and be like, oh yeah, I know, I got it going on, or whatever like that, then it's gonna like he said, he backed up.
Yes.
Like, okay, well then, why would I compliment you if you're going to come back at me that way?
Right.
And that wasn't fair for her to do that.
Yeah. And what do you think triggered that? What triggers responses like that? Is it that she truly knows, or she doesn't know how to receive a compliment?
I know them.
Okay.
So I personally think she just really didn't know how to receive it, and she had just had a baby, and she had just had another baby. So I think that she just didn't know how to receive it.
Okay.
I think that she, and that was a thing, along with being just had a baby. You know how it is when you emotionally go through just having a baby, and you might have a little, her body bounced back is perfect to me. But at the same time, I think she just didn't know how to receive it from her husband.
Okay. And maybe she didn't believe it. And I don't know her, but I'm thinking that sometimes when we say things like, I know, it's like, yeah, okay. Yeah. You're being, you're.
I think sometimes men need to switch up. Like that. Well, like the Stay Woke, you just read, the poem you just read.
Yeah.
I think that she's in a different season right now because she just had a baby. So I think he has to switch with her and not take it personal.
You stay in tune with her.
Yeah. Because there's something about when you just had the baby, was only 6 months old.
Right.
So if you just had a baby, you're going through these emotional this emotional turmoil or whatever like that, I think that he has to shift with her, and not take it personal.
And that's and that's easy to say.
It is,
because in all fairness, he may have thought he was shifting with her. She had this baby. She's feeling bad about herself, so I'm going to do whatever I can to build her up, because that's what men think. And not men. I mean, that's what we think that we're supposed to do. We're supposed to build our partner up when they are struggling, and so that's hard to figure out the rhythm. But it is an important thing to be able to do, to follow. So, all right, we'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Viola Davis. Did you know that 1 in 5 kids in America struggle with hunger? Growing up, I was one of those kids, but we can solve this. When we make breakfast happen for kids in our neighborhood, we have the power to end childhood hunger, create bigger, brighter school days, and healthier minds and bodies. Go to hungeris.org and lend your time or your voice.
We're hungry for more.
A message from the Albertsons Companies Foundation and the Entertainment Industry Foundation.
When it comes to saving money, don't act like a baby.
Goo goo gaga.
Be the boss and make a budget.
I'm the boss, baby.
You're not the boss of me.
I am the boss of you.
Are not.
M2.
Are not.
M2.
Need a little help?
Aren't you gonna do any work?
I'm very busy delegating.
Create a personalized savings plan.
We can share.
You obviously didn't go to business school.
And get other tools and tips at feedthepig.org. Brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
You use Tearless Baby Shampoo because it's gentle on your baby's eyes. You make sure his toys don't have any sharp edges. You always test the bath water to make sure it's not too hot. You taught her what to do when the smoke alarm goes off. You make sure she wears a helmet when she rides her bicycle. You put on his sunscreen, even when he's embarrassed his friends will see. You do so much to keep your child safe. But are you using the right car seat for your child? Is your child facing the right way in the car seat? Is the seat too big or too small? How do you know when it's time to move your child into the next type of seat? Car crashes are a leading killer of children ages 1 to 13. Protect your child's future at every stage of life. For information on the right seat for your child, visit safercar.gov/the-right-seat. That's safercar.gov/the-right-seat.
A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Why is Connor having trouble focusing in school?
Having trouble finding Connor's middle school? Would you like directions?
No, why is Connor having trouble focusing in school?
Finding lowest airfare to Istanbul.
No, I'm tired of fighting with him over homework.
Home, walk, restaurant. Need a review?
No, I need help. He's very smart, but his mind wanders. He's disorganized.
I think I understand.
Oh, good.
Finding best potatoes for French fries.
No!
Russet, fingerling, Yukon Gold.
Why don't you understand me?
Sorry, I was trying to show how Connor feels every day. Frustrating, isn't it? Redirecting to understood.org.
For the 1 in 5 kids with learning and attention issues, this is what life can feel like. Explore understood.org, a free online resource about learning and attention issues, designed to help your child thrive in school and in life. Understood.org, because understanding is everything.
Brought to you by understood.org and the Ad Council.
Lack of diversity. Gas prices.
Michael Jackson. Trending topics.
Okay, so trending this week. The movie Detroit came out, and it was highly anticipated, and I have to say that I went to see it, and I didn't necessarily know what I was getting myself into, and I personally was highly disappointed. I was traumatized. I sat there in the theater for a straight hour and a half of trauma is what I experienced. I thought it was just me. So I have to say that it was very affirming to hear that there were reviews that said similar, that said the same thing. So the consensus is that the director, Catherine Bigelow, was irresponsible, inaccurate, and exploitive in her depiction of the actual events that happened in Detroit in 1967. This is from an article in the Huffington Post. The reason that this article is basically saying that it was irresponsible and inaccurate is because the movie missed a lot of the elements that really happened that would bring dignity to the people that experienced, the trauma of that time. So, because they actually went back, and if you don't know the story, it's really the story of how these police officers killed 3 young black men. But it talks about the real life. The article talks about in real life how they went back and they stood for these men, and how they had a trial in which Maya Angelou was present. And it's like, hello, how is this left out of the movie? So I didn't like it. It was somebody used the term trauma porn, and I think that's exactly what it was. It was like trauma porn. It was like, we just want you to get off on seeing all these men getting beat up and abused, and that was the focus of the extent to which how severely we can abuse these men. And you're going to sit there and you're going to watch it.
What movie was this?
This is Detroit.
Oh,
yeah, it was too much. It was too much, but I did hear some positive. Some people said, "Oh yeah, you need to see that," but I just was not one of them. President's approval rate is getting worse by the minute. A political Morning Consult poll finds that just 40% of registered voters approve of the job Trump is doing in office. But let him tell it, he's doing a superb job bigly. Now, Usher. We've heard all the stories. Usher has herpes. Usher doesn't have herpes. Usher has herpes. He gave me herpes. So these people are coming out saying that he gave them herpes. Usher hasn't said a word. I think maybe a week has passed, a week and a half has passed, and now he's speaking up. He's saying that he may not have, reports are saying that he may not have herpes, and he's planning to file a defamation suit against one of his accusers for bringing this out and accusing him. And if he in fact does not have herpes, he will have a case. Wow. For sure. Quantasia Sharpton held a press conference on Monday saying that she also slept with the singer, but she tested negative for herpes. However, she's still suing Usher for pain and suffering. I'm not really sure how that...
She doesn't have herpes, but she's going to sue him for pain and suffering.
Good luck with that.
Well, what size was he?
And maybe there could be a lawsuit for that. I don't know.
I'm sorry, y'all.
So now Usher is denying being intimate with her, and so we'll know. We'll see how this whole thing unfolds. It sounds like a collection of hot mess to me. Now, if you'd like, you can lay your head on the same home of 45 when he was a child. Trump's childhood home is now available for rent on Airbnb for $725 a night.
A night?
Yes. This was the pre-Trump Tower prerequisite of the White House. You live there, you get to go to the White House. But yes, it's on Airbnb for $725 a night. If you're interested, check it out. I don't know if I want that karma on me, but so those are our trending topics for the week, and we're going to get right back into this discussion. So we've had quite a few comments on our Facebook feed, and I'm trying to catch up and make sure that I've covered all of those. But I want to have you tell us what your book is about, who it's for, why would they want to read it?
Well, just like the young lady that you mentioned earlier about her not being comfortable with sex, that is definitely a reason to read the book.
Yes.
Because, as I said, I wrote it. I was a little off. Like, God, I know you're not having me to write no book on sex, and I'm celibate, I'm a Christian. So, but it was still, again, from the standpoint of me being single, but have been married and look forward to getting married again. So, and then on top of that, I had a friend and I asked her, I said, hey, look, I've been waking up at 5:52 every morning. What's going on? I think God is wanting me to write another book, but I think it's on sex. She was like, well, yeah, and she doesn't go to church. So she was like, I can see why, because we taking half y'all's men. So I was like, whoa, okay. Well, because when men get married to this good girl, he had a life before he married a good girl. So whatever the freaks were doing before he got married to the good girl, his flesh may want that again.
Okay.
So if she's not doing it and he wants to get it done, he may venture out.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what she was saying. Is like, and then you got the flip side. Some of the biggest freaks are in church, But if he doesn't have that person, or if he thinks she's too freaky and like, man, how much experience do you have?
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those situations there. But as far as what?
That just struck a nerve. Because it's okay for them to be too freaky.
Yeah.
But it's not okay for a woman to be too freaky.
You know how men are.
Ugh.
I mean, no offense.
And I don't know. I mean, is that, guys, I want to hear your thoughts on that. Like, is that a universal thought of men? Does a woman need to kind of stop at a certain level of freakishness? Does she need to stop at a certain level? Is there a cap on how freaky she needs to be before you start wondering if she's just got way too much experience? I want to hear you. Call 678-613-5857. I'll give that number again, 678-613-5857. Is there a cap to freakishness? Is there a certain level? I want to hear the phone. I don't hear the phone. I don't hear the phone. 678-613-5857. So we're going to keep talking, but I definitely want to hear from our fellows on this. And, women too, whoever. Call. I want to know. So, okay, I interrupted you rudely. Go ahead.
Guys, do you have a cap? Like, is there a certain body count, or is there a certain, like she don't need to be this experienced, or would you like to explore this with your wife? How old do she need to be? I would like to hear the same thing.
Yeah, we're waiting.
What do you think about that?
And we'll continue the conversation while they are calling in, because I want to hear this as well. So, so that's the question posed to you. Give us a call. We're going to go to break, and when we come back, we're going to continue this conversation.
Leaders aren't born, they're made. And not just anywhere. They're made in special places by special qualified trainers in places like the Academy of Creative Coaching. The Academy of Creative Coaching is an international certification program with courses in health and wellness coaching, spiritual coaching, relationship coaching, executive coaching, life coaching, and cultural competency coaching. Courses are online, hybrid, or face-to-face. The Academy of Creative Coaching is empowering coaches to empower the world. Make a positive change in yourself and the world. Go to academyofcreativecoaching.com.
Hey, this is John Legend.
Hey, what's happening, man? It's the King speaking.
This is Jeremiah.
Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
Gotta be.
Sensation Station Network.
When it comes to saving money, don't act like a baby.
Goo goo gaga.
Be the boss and make a budget.
I'm the boss, baby.
You're not the boss of me.
I am the boss of you.
Are not.
M2.
Are not.
M2.
Need a little help?
Aren't you gonna do any work?
I'm very busy delegating.
Create a personalized savings plan.
We could share.
You obviously didn't go to business school.
And get other tools and tips at feedthepig.org. Brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
You don't usually get a stock tip from a 16-year-old, but I'm here to tell you about a different kind of stock. It's called Better Futures, a stock for social change that's not about making money. Instead, you invest to help students like me go to college. This is beyond a simple donation. It's the opportunity for America to invest in its kids and take an active stake in the future of the country. The return on your investment isn't money. What you get back is knowing you protected our potential. So one day, that potential can grow up to become surgeons and architects, executives and engineers. People who can change the future just by being a part of it. My name is Alicia, and I'm your dividend.
Invest in better futures with UNCF. Visit uncf.org/invest. A mind is a terrible thing to waste, but a wonderful thing to invest in. A public service announcement brought to you by UNCF and the Ad Council.
Driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
All All right, welcome back to the Live Exchange. We do have one brave fella who called in. He's on the line. Hello, who is joining us today?
Hi, this is Michael Blaze.
Hi, Michael. How are you doing?
I'm okay. I'm a little nervous about it.
Oh, don't be nervous. Where are you calling from?
What's that?
Where are you calling from?
Washington State.
All right, now. Okay, so what are your thoughts?
I think I do have a limit, but I'm not really sure where that is because it's really hard to get her to open up.
Okay.
I mean, I think I'm kind of. I mean, I'm 45. I think I'm kind of freaky in my. Oh, I can't believe I said that.
No, it's cool. It's cool. And I didn't mean to
You
smile.
a freak.
But because you're good.
But I'm originally from D.C., you know, so I was kind of square. You know, I was the guy. I did what my mother told me. I did what my grandmother told me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I was always back, you know, on the porch, you know, when the street lights came on.
Okay.
You know, so I didn't really have, you know, for the lack of a better word, I didn't have the freak. You know, I kind of stayed clean cut, you know. And
that freak just popped up in there.
I do have there's things that I do want to do and experiment with, but it's really hard getting her to open up.
Okay.
You know, to where we kind of both feel comfortable.
And I did see your comment on Facebook Live where you said that she's just kind of got some other things that you guys are trying to work through.
Yeah, it's just hard kind of, I mean, because she's got some emotional trauma from the past.
Right.
You know, she was married before, you know, so I think we have a great relationship.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like those things that they keep cropping up, like when I say, you know, oh, you're beautiful, or this, or try to touch.
Right.
You know, she enjoys the touch. She enjoys being close. I mean, probably more, you know, maybe than I do being a man. She enjoys it more, but there's still like this wall right there that's like hard to break down.
Yeah.
Because it'll crop up, you know, where it's just like, you know, I'll say you're beautiful, or you're this, or you're that. And instead of accepting it, I get the opposite.
Right.
You know, I'm not that, like, she doesn't think she's beautiful.
Right, and I was just about to say that it's probably an issue. She probably doesn't believe it. And so, and as Tori had mentioned earlier, she has to find her sexy. And she needs to read Taboo.
Yeah, I addressed it. Finding your sexy.
But it also may mean something much more in depth. You know, counseling and all of that, and so which is much more than we can cover here.
Mm-hmm.
But stay with us. We're gonna have to move into another segment. We have to move into the research. All right, cool. Yeah. So thanks for calling. I'm going to continue to check your comments and try to respond to those. But thank you so much.
Okay.
Okay.
And thanks for your advice.
Okay.
I think some of that will work.
Okay, awesome. No problem.
In the interest of science.
Okay, so second hour science is brought to you by the Academy of Creative Coaching, empowering coaches to empower the world. So this study comes from the Journal of Psychology and Theology. And it looks at profound sexual and spiritual encounters among practicing Christians. It's a phenomenological analysis. So for research nerds like me, I love phenomenology. And what it just means that we interview people who've all had the same experience and try to find common themes about what everybody has said about that experience. In this case, the experience is profound sexual and spiritual encounters. So everybody interviewed in this study has said that they've experienced a profound sexual and spiritual encounter. So not just sexual alone and not just spiritual alone, but intertwined. So what's interesting is that they came up with 11 common themes about this experience and what people said. And this may not be surprising, but we don't have a lot of information about how practicing Christians experience sex. So what this study does is let us know what their experiences are. So number one, they experienced a sense of wonder and amazement. So at times, they felt wounded or self-critical before this happened. But after this, they experienced, they were literally surprised by the level of joy that they felt. So that's the sense of wonder and amazement. Number two, emotional cleansing. one quote says, "I cried brokenly." This is from a man. "I cried brokenly all through sex." So it was an emotional cleansing. It was an experience of, just so overwhelming. Number 3, God's presence was evident. So God was experienced as a peaceful spirit. Now this one was a little strange for me because some of the quotes, and I didn't put them here, but some of the quotes were like, I felt like God was caressing me. I felt like God was massaging me, and I even think one said penetrating, and I thought, I don't know if I can. I don't know about that one, but they said that God's presence was evident in the scenario. I can totally see God's presence being evident, but
yeah,
the
I can see
extent
that too,
to which
but
some of them described
I don't know if I want to think about my daddy penetrating.
Yeah,
I mean, you think about God as your daddy.
I can't. Yeah, can't do it. And I love the Lord, but I can't. So number 4, intense union. So they felt like they were one flesh. Number 5, euphoria, emptiness, overwhelmed with fullness. Number 6, intense physical arousal. They described it as very hot, wild, intense warmth. Number 7 is transcendence, going beyond normal limits of their self. They lost time and space. They were just fully into the situation. Number 8, holistic involvement, meaning that from an emotional, physical, spiritual standpoint, all of that was fully involved in the process. Your face is hilarious. Number 9, a sense of blessing and giftedness. They felt like this was a blessed and generous gift. Number 10, ineffable mystery. So it was a mysterious experience. And then number 11, a sense of sacredness and worship. They felt that this was a pure, clean, holy, and sacramental act. So when we come back, I'll tell you the after effects that they experienced. This was during. So I'll tell you the after when we come back.
So, I'm a dog, and I just got adopted by this new human guy, and I'm starting to wonder how he got along without me. I mean, okay, something as simple as walking around the block. He's got this leash thing, and he puts me on one end and him on the other, and I'm just taking him around. I think he's afraid of getting lost. Without that leash and me guiding him along, I don't think he'd find his way back home. But it's kind of cute.
A person is the best thing to happen to a shelter pet. Be that person. Adopt.